Alright, what's up, everybody? I showered last night, but I've slept, so of course I look all greasy. Whatever. We're gonna do some real talk here. I know that most of my viewership is female, 70-some odd percent is female, so I think this will be a relevant topic, although I do think that the men can glean something and even share their insight, their perspectives as well. But I just thought we could just put some topics on the table, you know. So just kind of to skim over, you know, we are body, soul, spirit. There's 4 levels of connection you can have with someone. And, you know, maybe this is me self-sabotaging, maybe it's not, I don't know. I'm going to try to be careful with how I phrase things. And, but, you know, yeah, we're in the tribulation. And so I know that there's people who are going to say, well, this isn't even important. What's important is getting right with God and preparing spiritually and practically and this, that, and the other, and this doesn't even matter at this point. And you could say that, but, you know, this is for the people that it does matter to. You know, if you're single and or married or whatever, and this doesn't apply to you because you're either happily married or you're happily single, then you can just click out. But for those of us who, whatever category we fit in, we are hoping to have a godly spouse, you know, this may be of interest to you. I'm a verbal processor, and I'm a very, very, very passionate person. And so when something's bothering me, it really is difficult for me to just keep it to myself. I guess that's a weakness of mine. So, if you've been around long enough and you've watched my stuff, I think 3 times now, I have shared the incomplete testimony. I just took it down again, of how going back even years and years ago, the Lord was giving me little hints and clues about my kingdom husband, this, that, and the other, right? And like I said, I've told that story on here about 3 times, and you know, I don't know if I should get too specific or just keep it kind of general, but let's just say at this point, I believe that the Lord has told me, I believe it's been made clear to me, and I hope I'm wrong. Oh, I hope I'm wrong. I so hope I'm wrong. That the man that I believe he revealed and confirmed to me has rejected me. And, you know, even putting aside whether I heard from God correctly or not, whether I heard from God or not, you know, the proof's in the pudding of okay, it's been over 2 years and I have not heard from the dude, right? We all know just common sense, if a dude's interested, he's going to make a move at some point, even if he is a little shy or whatever, right? And, see, here's the thing with this dude. With that dude. What I do know in terms of the 4 levels of connection is that I was definitely physically attracted to him, right? So let's talk about the 4 levels of connection. So first of all, what does the Bible say? We are body, soul, spirit. We are a triune being. God is a triune God. We are a triune being. But there's 4 levels of connection. There's a great book that I read years ago, written by, in my opinion, the guy is probably a Christian. I forget if he's officially a Christian or not, but it was titled Mars and Venus on a Date or something like that. And it really is a good book to read for both men and women, to get little insights of you know, how the opposite gender thinks and how their psychology works and whatever. And but there is 4 levels of connection, right? You've got the obvious physical / sexual attraction. You know whether or not you could, on a physical level, be romantic with someone, whether you can picture yourself holding hands with someone, kissing someone, hopping in bed with someone, right? And then you've got the emotional connection and the mental connection. So on a body level, we've got the physical / sexual connection. On a soul level, you have the emotional and the mental connection, okay? And those are two different levels, okay? Because you can connect with someone mentally, like intellectually, without connecting emotionally, okay? And then, of course, on a spirit level, you have the spiritual connection of, okay, you know, are we on the same wavelength, so to speak, regarding our beliefs, our connection to God, our relationship with God, etc., right? And so anytime that there's a connection on any four of those levels, that's nice. You know, there's some level of clicking going on, you know, some level of, I guess you could say, chemistry. But like Torrey Roberts said in that sermon that I keep sharing on here, you know, chemistry isn't everything, you know. Ideally, what you're looking for in a kingdom spouse is all four levels of connection. And so the guy that I believe that the Lord revealed and confirmed to me, I am definitely physically attracted to him. I could definitely, you know, envision myself, you know, sladding up next to him, you know. And I know that he's a seer and he's a prophet. And so, like, I know his heart for the Lord, and so I just presume that, okay, we've got the spiritual, and then it would just be the mental and the emotional, which I never really got to discover because we only had brief communication before he just dropped off. Now, since then, I've had different men approach me, mostly through this channel, but I've had a few others, and I have to say, the guy that I met in person, that I believe was a test, the Lord sat me down right next to that guy. I regret taking down that one video that I did too. But this man, he and I had the emotional connection, and that is so rare. Like, I really felt like that guy was my soulmate. But he was swabbed up his nose, he took the mark, and so disqualified, right? Which just broke my heart. I cried tears over that guy. Because I was physically attracted to him, and we connected on an emotional level. We had the mental, like, I think I could have had all four with that guy, which is why I cried. He wasn't quite there on the spirit level. I think he was like in the process of transitioning out of New Age into Christianity when I met him a few months ago. But like all other three levels, like we had it. And of course, but he took the mark and just ugh. And so what else are we going to talk about here? So there's a verse that I've brushed on, I think, at least twice on this channel. There's a verse, I forget where it is now, in the Old Testament. Basically prophesies how in the last days, like, women are going to be in so much want of a man because there's going to be such slim pickings. That women are just going to be desperate and just like throwing themselves at men and whatever and blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not going to be doing that. The Lord has been working on me and in me for years now regarding getting healing and deliverance and yada, yada, and we are continuing with that. And so he has been single-handedly building my self-esteem and yada, yada, yada. And so, you know, regardless of what I might have done in my past, in my future, currently and in my future, I'm not going to be throwing myself at anybody on any level, or at least that's not my intention, for sure. I have standards. I know what I want now for sure, and I really don't want to settle. But I find myself now so frustrated. And there is, I guess, some level of desperation, I guess you could call it, that I am now at a point of contemplating, like, almost intentionally backsliding. So about 4 years ago, summer of 2018, I finally took my desire for a husband and I let it go and I put it in the Lord's hands. It took me so long to do that, years and years of wrestling and, shooting myself in the foot and yada, yada, yada. Finally gave it to him. And I am very, very disappointed and frustrated at this point that the man that he picked has seemingly, evidently rejected me, which makes me, not feel so great. But it also, it hurts, but it also, under mad is sad, under anger is hurt. It also just aggravates me because, I could sit here and list off all the bad things about me. I'm fully aware, that I don't have the same, looks as I used to. I'm not looking as good as I used to when I was younger. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm rough around the edges, blah, 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 whatever. But I can also sit here and list off, okay, I know what the Lord has put in me, the priceless, invaluable things that he has put in me, and any man of God to reject me regarding what the pros list is just foolish, and so I'm just kind of aggravated and whatever. But since it's been clear, since I had the dream March 7th, and it's been kind of confirmed that, okay, he seems to not be an option. I've had some men kind of walk through the door, so to speak, that, there may be other levels of connection, maybe, but there's not a physical attraction. And back in March when this happened with someone, I kind of took a survey amongst the women of what's your perspective on this, and I'm kind of doing that again, I guess, could you be with someone that you're not physically attracted to? And I keep trying, I really do keep trying to budge in this area, but I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. And some would say that makes me shallow, but I know a lot of people who are right there with me that if you're not attracted, you're not attracted, and that's all there is to it. But here's another thing, let's just say you decide that, okay, if the Lord says, hey, marry so-and-so, and you're not physically attracted, then there's the whole thing of are you honest and transparent about that with that person? Or are you supposed, or keep it to yourself? And I was kind of discussing all this with the Lord of okay, if I were to get with somebody that I'm not physically attracted to, I would just have to hope and pray that the Lord would supernaturally somehow resolve that. But, to never tell that person, even if, and I don't know if I should stop here or come back, circle around, but for women, it is possible. It is possible for women. I don't know if it's possible for men. It is possible for women, for a man to transform in their perception, to become more attractive the more that they get to know him, the more, that is possible to some extent. Sometimes, I've experienced it. I've heard testimonies about it, but to never tell that man, let's just say, okay, you get with him, maybe at first you're not physically attracted, but in time he becomes attractive to you, blah, blah, blah. So, after the fact, after you become attracted to him, you're still never going to tell him, hey, back when I first met you, I wasn't physically attracted to you. To me, the whole point of having a spouse is to have someone that you are 100% honest, forthright, and transparent with. Someone that you keep nothing back. You hold no secrets. They know everything. To me, if you're not having that kind of openness, it's not a marriage as far as I'm concerned. That's not intimacy as far as I'm concerned. What makes a marriage is that there is 100% 100% openness and sharing of yourself because you feel comfortable and you feel safe and you want to share with that person, and that person wants you to share everything with them. And that's on, again, every level. Physically / sexually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you become one. That is my expectation. That is my ideal, I guess, of what marriage is supposed to be and what I want it to be. Now, I know a lot of people can sit here and say, well, that's not what it is, or that hasn't been my experience, or nobody has that, or what. Yeah, I agree that most people don't have that, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible, and it doesn't mean that that's not what it's supposed to be. And so I'm going to be completely honest that I'm contemplating taking my desire for a husband back out of God's hands right now. And I know that's an ungodly example to give. I know that I have a place of leadership, but I am also human, and I have to be real. And it's crossing my mind at this point now. It's crossing my mind of like, okay, Lord, I entrusted you with this desire, and I'm coming up short here, you know, like, we're in the tribulation, still don't have a husband, and the dudes that are pursuing me, it seems like, you know, I'm just not physically attracted to them, so now what, you know? And I know better. I know, you know, if you take matters into your own hands, it just backfires in your face and blah, 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 but, like, it is crossing my mind right now of like, Lord, I might just go back to doing things my way, you know, like, because waiting on you, we're not getting anywhere, you know. And again, I know that that's not a godly example, but I'm just saying it's crossing my mind. It's starting to cross my mind again. Now, I do want to kind of emphasize for the men, in case you're not aware, okay? When a woman looks at you and says, nope, can't see myself holding his hand, kissing him, or going any further, that can change. It can, C-A-N, it can change. The more that woman connects with you on other levels, her lens, like her perception of you, that can transform, it can change. Now, do I want to put parameters on that? Or like, you know, is there exceptions to that or whatever? I mean, maybe, maybe not. I mean, you'd have to ask each woman. Now, I was surprised back in March when I took a survey of a bunch of Christian women. I sent out an email to a bunch of different Christian women, and I was shocked that a bunch of them came back and said, oh, that doesn't matter to me. I was like, good for you, you know. So maybe to some I'm considered shallow. I know I can talk to a lot of other people and they would not consider me shallow, but I know that I've been in situations in my life where I've looked at a guy and I'm like, but like then once I got to know him, then like he became attractive physically to me. He became more handsome to me. So I know to some extent, at least in some scenarios, it is possible. But in my opinion, there's also just other scenarios where just it's just a hard no of like, I can't fathom how I could ever kiss that guy. You know. So, but anyway, yeah, like, single ladies, feel free to jump in the comments, you know, where are you at, what are you experiencing, you know, and men too, you know, I'm just kind of curious to get different perspectives, but please don't attack me personally, but just share your own perspective, your own opinion, your own experiences. But yeah, so I guess the like two issues here is like, okay, getting with someone that you're just not physically attracted to and you can't really fathom becoming physically attracted to, and then never telling that person. You know, here's what's interesting. I had a phone call with a lady maybe a month or two ago, like 2 months ago, give or take, and whew, this woman amazes me. So I had brought up around that time frame, I had on my channel, I had brought up the topic of Hosea, right? So we know Hosea was one of the minor prophets, and God told Hosea to go and marry what's the word the scripture uses? A harlot, prostitute, whore. Now, it doesn't say whether or not he found her physically attractive or not. I don't know. We don't know, like, those specifics. We know that, you know, we can presume that he was turned off just just in terms of, you know, what she was doing, you know. And that was like the living that for Hosea, that was how he was a living sacrifice for the Lord. Well, this woman and I, a couple months ago, ended up getting into this conversation, and she had a whole new perspective that I have never come across before in my life. I've never heard of anyone else. I've never heard anyone else have this testimony. I don't know. But she claimed that when she married her husband, she had zero physical attraction to him, and that she was in no need of him whatsoever in terms of like she didn't need him financially. Like she had her own stuff set up. She was good. She was comfortable financially, whatever. Like she had no need of him, and she really had no desire, you know, no physical attraction. And she said that, you know, when she first met him and she was getting to know him, that she was praying, and that I guess she had a vision or something, and supposedly in this vision, like, God showed her this man's, like, potential of, like, the man of God that he could become, that God wanted him to become. And so she married this man based strictly on that. And she has kept this to herself for years. She's had children with this man, blah, 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 and she's never told him. And I was listening to this, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, the self-discipline that would take. And, you know, it humbles me, because it makes me wonder, okay, so maybe I don't have as much self-discipline as I thought I did, or something, you know, like, the self-discipline that would take to keep something like that. So, something that I would be bursting at the seams. Like, I couldn't do that. Like, and she just kept that to her. Like, this man has no clue that when they got together, she was not physically attracted to him whatsoever at all. That just blows my mind. And she believes that it's like a calling. Now, terminology, I believe that a calling is who you're called to minister to, but I guess what she meant more so is maybe like a purpose, like one of her purposes on this earth was to like marry this man as a very specific ministry and whatever, but like she's been married to him for years now, you know, probably decades, and he's still kind of like lukewarm. He still hasn't matured in the Lord. He's not interested in doing anything regarding inner healing, you know, whatever. You know, and so it's like something like that, like you have no guarantee. And like what I've learned, the wisdom that I've gained in my journey is do not fall in love with a man's potential. That is so unhealthy. Now, you could call that like secular wisdom. And I'm not going to argue with this woman. If God told her that, then that's between her and God. And I'm not going to claim that I know or don't know what God said to her and whatever. And that's between her and the Lord. I just know I couldn't do that. I've learned, do not fall in love with a man's potential, because there is no guarantee that man is ever going to fulfill that potential. You have to take someone as they are right now, because there's no guarantee that they're going to evolve or progress or mature or heal or whatever. And that's how a lot of people get into toxic, worldly, secular relationships and marriages and just yada yada, right? Well, he's got so much potential, you know, blah, blah, blah. I know what he's capable of. He could be so much more than he is, da, 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 whatever. Yeah, but is he ever going to be, you know? I just lost my train of thought. So anyway, I've learned not to do that. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, oh, well, April, you're looking for perfection. No, I'm not looking for perfection. Now, I used to lower my standards left and right. I used to settle left and right, and it always blew up in my face, and yada, yada, yada. I'm not expecting perfection. No one is perfect. Everyone has their flaws and their weaknesses and their insecurities, including myself. And yes, obviously the most important thing is, you know, the spiritual connection. Are they right with Jesus? Yada, 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 yada. Because you could have the physical, the emotional, and the mental, and still be unequally yoked, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, marriage, how do you consummate a marriage? Sex, you know, like you got to be able, and sex is something that is, it's a gift. It's something to be enjoyed. And so if you can't even, picture yourself holding someone's hand or kissing them or whatever, you know, like for example, you know, there was a guy back in March who contacted me about 2 weeks after I had that dream where the guy that God had, you know, confirmed to me rejected me, and I just, you know, I even like had like a video chat with him, and you know, I just wasn't feeling it. I just couldn't. And I apologized, and I said, look, I'm really sorry, but like I just it's just not there, you know. And so I'm now contemplating all these different things of like, okay, we're in the tribulation, and to be completely honest, the impression I'm getting from God is that he's telling me that if I don't like take the next guy who comes along, that I may just be foregoing a husband. I may not get a husband. And so now I'm contemplating all these different possibilities of, okay, like, you know, if it comes down to, do I marry a man that I'm not physically attracted to, or being single, like, what do I do? You know, like, because if you're single, you know, masturbating is a sin. We you know, God has been emphasizing that. And, you know, being with someone that you're not physically attracted to, you know, that's awkward, and like that could be very distressful, and not just for yourself, but like for the other person. And if you try to keep it to yourself, like for me, I don't know how I could keep that to myself. I don't know how I could cope with that. And then if I tell the guy, you know, in terms of men's psychology, you know, every woman needs to know that she is delighted in, that she's beautiful, that she is being enjoyed. We need to know that. That is our core question. Every man needs to know that he has what it takes. So if you tell a man, I'm not physically attracted to you, even if you get to the point where, like, okay, you're trying to, you know, consummate the marriage, he may not be able to consummate the marriage psychologically, physically. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a connection there, okay? Like, if he thinks that he doesn't have what it takes to please a woman, then he's not going to be able to please a woman. You get what I'm saying? Like, so, like, there's all these different things, you know? And, I don't know, I just had to get this off my chest, and I'm just curious what you know, what other people have to say on this, all this different stuff. But yeah, you know, I believe, I hope I'm hearing wrong. I really hope I'm hearing wrong, but I believe the Lord told me yesterday that the man that he revealed and confirmed to me back in 2020 is now off the table. He is no longer an option. I am incredibly disappointed and upset at this. And yeah, so now I got to figure out, okay, well, now what? Now, how am I going to navigate, you know, yeah. So, I don't know. I just thought I would just kind of put this out there as like a real talk topic, because this is, it's very real, and I know I'm not the only one, you know, contemplating this type of stuff. You know, kind of grappling with your desire and all the stuff that's attached to it, and yada, yada, yada. it's getting to that point, I think, where, you know, some of us may have to just either settle or just accept being single for the rest of our time on this earth. That's, I think, where I find myself. Unless, you know, God works a miracle and, you know, some wonderful man walks into my life out of nowhere that, you know, we just connect on all 4 levels. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure God told me yesterday that the guy he showed me in 2020 is no longer an option, and that's just incredibly disappointing and upsetting. And so yeah, now I'm kind of just mentally grappling with all these concepts, and if there's anybody out there who has kind of gone through this process, if you have any insight, you know, any wisdom, please do share it in the comments, or feel free to shoot me an email. But this is a very real thing on my heart right now. So I just thought I would kind of extrapolate on it and, you know, put it on the table for discussion. All right. I bless you all in the name of Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth.